Hey, welcome back, Ram fans. Mark from Rams up here. I'm going to execute another draft. You can follow along while I do this. This one is going to be pretty complicated. It's going to be complicated explaining it. Bear with me here. The Rams going into the draft already have 10 picks once the comp picks are awarded anyways. And now we hear Allen Robinson is been given permission to seek a trade. Jalen Ramsey on the trading block. So I was thinking, what if the Rams did make those trades and added some picks? Actually, they could add some high picks. I'll give you an idea of what I'm thinking what I'm thinking here. Let's go to my little display here. Let's say the Rams trade Jalen Ramsey and the 36th pick to the Lions for the 18th and 48th pick. Okay, got that? Not an exact science. I don't know if that's what a trade would look like, but just for fun, let's propose that's the trade that goes down. And let's say, meanwhile, the Rams trade Allen Robinson and get a 6th round pick. And for the purpose of simplifying this mock draft I'm about to run, they make that trade with the Lions. Allen Robinson is not going to the Lions. I realize that. But let's just give the Rams a pick around the 194 spot, and that would be the Lions for this case. So we can run a mock draft, and we're going to run a mock draft with the Rams and the Lions. And what we have to be careful here is it's going to be a little complicated. We need to make sure that we award each team the right players because this mock draft simulator does not make those adjustments for us. Let's start this draft. And so the first pick that's going to pop up here, the 18th pick, well, the 6th pick actually for the Lions, we'll just pick the cornerback there for them. The 18th pick for the Lions is going to be the Rams pick. And what I'm hoping to get here with this high pick is a really good cornerback because we don't have Jalen Ramsey anymore. And what do we have? Let's filter for cornerback. And Ringo out of Georgia is there, and we're going to make that pick. So remember, 18 on the Lions there. That's the Rams pick, and he is the cornerback. That would be the Rams' new CB1, perhaps. We'll reject all these trades. Got to slow down here, make sure we do this correctly. This 36th pick now, I know, complicated here. That's actually the Lions pick, and we'll just go ahead and pick a cornerback for them as well. Well, they already picked a cornerback. Let's pick, I got it filtered for cornerbacks. Turn that off, and we'll give them the great tight end out of Utah. They traded TJ Hawkinson, so that actually makes a little bit of sense. Now, the 48th pick of the Lions belongs to the Rams. I know, I'm sorry, this is complicated. Really difficult to follow along. They have Derek Hall out of Auburn, Felix Anudike-Uzomah out of Kansas State, and I really think the Rams, probably their second biggest need is edge rusher. Who knows what's going on with Leonard Floyd. Now, I've kind of soured a little bit on Uzomah. Derek Hall, I still like what he brings, and that'll be my pick, Derek Hall out of Auburn. And we have, with that Lions pick, that he's going to belong to the Rams. Following along here, I know it's difficult. Hall, the edge rusher, I got to keep track here myself, so bear with me. And what do we got here? This is, we're going to get a bunch of Lions picks that we're just going to, we'll give them the edge rusher to, not sure if that makes sense for the Lions, but that's not the point of this, right? And let's see, what do we got here? The 69th pick, this is the Rams pick, and it belongs to them. You see Dalton Kincaid on the screen there. He's actually the Lions pick. Sorry. So what do the Rams do now? They got a cornerback and an edge rusher. They got what's available here. Gervon Dexter, he's a good value there at 69. A-Chain Given the Rams' experience with the very light and speedy wide receiver Atwell, I don't think they're going to go with Devin Achane, the very light and speedy running back. I still think they could draft 2 cornerbacks. That would be my preference, and I'm going to go ahead and pick Caillou Blue Kelly here, and the Rams have their second cornerback of this draft. Pressing on here, and this is the Lions' turn to pick again. Turn those cornerbacks off, and they're going to take the linebacker. Not going to spend a lot of time on these Lions picks, unless, of course, they belong to the Rams. That 194th pick does indeed belong to the Rams. Some more trades here. This draft haul is going to be nice. Okay, we are on the Rams pick, their 136th pick. What do they have so far? We have 2 cornerbacks and an edge rusher. I think they can add a running back. I think they can add a wide receiver with Allen Robinson moving on. They could use an outside linebacker. Let's see who the best wide receiver is. Jaden Reed, Michigan State, Jonathan Mingo out of Mississippi. The running backs, the running backs are pretty deep in this draft. We might be able to wait on a running back, and let's do that. Let's pass on the running back. Let's go back to these wide receivers and take Mingo out of Mississippi. We're going to have a Ringo and a Mingo? Oh, I don't know about that. That's what we're doing. We're taking the wide receiver Mingo. I'm relying a lot on these ratings at this point. Some of these players I'm not as familiar with as I should be. I'm getting there, but not quite there yet. Turn this filter off for the Lions, and they'll take a running back. Rams next pick. The next pick for the Rams will be number 172 overall. Look at all those picks the Rams still have left. And we are going to grab our running back now, Eric Gray, with that 172nd pick. And that appears to be a really good value based on these rankings. And the Rams' next pick, the Rams will have 3 more picks, 182, 189, 191, and then back to that Lions pick, 194 that they own. And I think the Rams at this point still could use an outside linebacker. They could they could use an interior offensive lineman and a defensive lineman. And what do we have here? Forsyth is the 182nd ranked player, 22 spots behind Juice Scruggs of Penn State. Now, I know a little bit more about Forsyth than I do Scruggs, but that ranking there is a little, that's a big difference. So we'll roll with Scruggs, and we'll have to do some homework on him. So we got our interior offensive lineman. The thing about these drafts, and I'll be the first one to admit it, when you draft all these guys, you just assume they're all going to pan out. And the way the NFL draft works out, you hope that half of these guys end up having fruitful NFL careers. If they do, you did pretty well. We're back to the 183rd pick for the Lions, and they will, let's pick a quarterback to back up Jared Goff. What the heck? And now we're back to the Rams. Oh, so many trades. 189, and we have we could use a interior defensive lineman. Now I'm presuming that the Rams are going to keep Greg Gaines, find a way to keep him. I don't think they can keep Gaines and Ashawn Robinson. I don't think that's going to happen. But they need to bolster that position group, I think. Bobby Brown, Jonah Williams, Marquise Copeland, they all appear to be decent defensive linemen, but We need some difference makers. Hopefully we can find one. Kobe Turner and Keandre Coburn are two guys that I have mocked to the Rams, I think, at one time or another. Jalen Redmond at Oklahoma as well. I'm just taking the highest rated players. Why overthink this? Drafting for need at this point. So we got the defensive lineman and we got the interior offensive lineman at 191. You know what I'm going to do here? I'm going to look for our tight end, and Zach Kuntz is still there. I almost forget about that guy. Could we wait till pick 194? That Lions pick we own. I'm not. I just love Zach Kuntz, and this is going to be adjusted. I don't think they've made the correction here after the combine. Zach Kuntz has elevated himself quite a bit, I think, but we'll roll with what we have here. We get our tight end. And now it's the Lions up, but that's the pick that belongs to us. And I was going to say before I remembered Kuntz, I think the Rams could use a backup quarterback. And Max Duggan out of TCU. Is he the type of guy that can I think he's the stereotypical backup quarterback, right? That can come in and really, keep a defense off balance. He's such a different style than Matthew Stafford. But I'm going to take a reach here. I've been getting guys higher than I've been getting guys that probably really aren't going to be there when I draft. I think Kuntz is an example. So I'm going to take a reach here to bounce things out. I'm going to take Stetson Bennett. If you heard our conversation with Eric Mulder of the South End Zone podcast, and he made a really good point. He said that if you want a rookie to come in and be a backup quarterback, he's got to be smart. He's got to have a head on his shoulders. And I think Stetson Bennett fits that bill. And he's got a good arm, too. And I think he would kind of fit the scheme that McVay runs, a pocket quarterback, a little bit of mobility. You can extend plays, but really just a pure pocket quarterback. Well, what do we got left here? We got 3 more picks. They're all the Rams. We can kind of go whatever we want here. There's a guy I've been waiting to grab, and I'm going to look for him now. And if you've been following along, I love Mr. Dennis out of Pittsburgh. Bobby Wagner is gone. And we can retain exclusive rights free agents Trevin Howard and Christian Roseman. And then that's about it. Jake Hummel. I always forget about him. We need some bodies there to help out Ernest Jones, and I really like Dennis. We got 2 more picks for the Rams, and we've been all over the place. We have not picked a safety, though. And again, I'm hoping the Rams retain Nick Scott, find a way. I don't think they're going to be able to keep Taylor Rapp. I know silence the applause, please. I'm sorry. I like Taylor Rapp. And the Rams like to draft safeties late. Is Alex Forsyth still there? That's kind of crazy. And I haven't looked at offensive tackles either. I don't think the Rams are going to find their starting offensive tackle at this point in the draft. But they can find a pretty good safety, and let's go with Brandon Hill. Not going to overthink this. Roll with the rankings. We'll do our homework on Brandon Hill and see how much we like that pick. Brandon Hill, a safety. We've hit almost every position group at this point, except special teams. Did the Rams draft a punter? Would they draft a long snapper? Would they draft a kicker? No, they'll find someone to walk in and do that. Now, there are some punters they might consider. I don't know what they're going to do with special teams. I don't think they're going to draft anybody, not after the Sam Sloman incident. But so what do we do here? Hey, let's just take the highest rated player, a cornerback, 3 cornerbacks. No, we're not going to do that. Do we have any edge rushers? Jose Ramirez out of Eastern Michigan. Why not? DJ Johnson out of Oregon. I'm going to take the guy out of the bigger school. DJ Johnson, actually, I remember him now. He is a guy that is considered one of the most versatile football players, not defensive lineman, edge, outside linebackers, just one of the most versatile football players in college football, period. So I kind of like that. And we are done our draft, and we have a pretty good haul here. Let's look at this draft now. Remember, Kincaid is not a Rams draft pick. The rest of these guys are. We got Caillou Blue Kelly, the cornerback. We got Mingo, the wide receiver. Eric Gray, the running back. These are all guys I've talked a little bit about. Juice Scruggs, interior offensive line out of Penn State. Coburn, the defensive lineman out of Texas. Making some notes here so I can, in case I lose anything here. We got the two players, and I've kind of fallen in love with both these guys. I love my picks. I'm the one that made them, so I better. Zach Kuntz, the tight end, Mr. Dennis out of Pittsburgh, Brandon Hill, a safety, and DJ Johnson, an edge rusher. And remember, two of these Lions belong to us. Ringo, the cornerback, and Derek Hall, the edge rusher. I think it's a pretty good draft. Adding quite a group of talented players. They're not all going to be the impact players that we think. I realize that. But if you can add an edge rusher like Derek Hall and a cornerback, Ringo, one of the top guys in the group at his position in this draft. Kincaid belongs to the Lions. But then you have Caillou Blue Kelly, another cornerback. Mingo, the wide receiver. Eric Gray's a running back at Oklahoma, had an incredibly productive year at a big school. And then we got Scruggs, the interior offensive lineman, Penn State. Big defensive lineman, Coburn out of Texas. Kuntz, Dennis, Brandon Hill, DJ Johnson. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is my mock draft number 15. Mock draft number 16. I will be posting these results on the website, ramsup.com, and I'll include the results here on the Thursday morning podcast. I'll rehash this again. I apologize. Confusing as heck. I get it. But the point I'm trying to make is, call it a rebuild, call it a remodel. If this is a rebuild, this could be rebuilt pretty darn fast. That's all I got to say here. Out here till next time. We'll do this again real soon. Out here from Rams Up.